Welcome to another episode of Discovering Our Gifts. I'm Lenny, and these are my cousins Jeannie and Ani. On today's episode, we will be discussing the different clair senses, what they entail, and different ways everyone can strengthen their own abilities. We hope you enjoy the discussion.
So we did a broad search to get a base of what most people consider to be the 6 main clairs. We used information from others such as author Pat Longo and YouTube content creator Christina Lopes. Clair means clear in French, which if you've ever looked up any of the clair abilities, you may have already come across that information.
So the first clair we're going to be discussing today is clairvoyance. That means clear seeing. That usually goes with visions in your mind, auras, sparkles, orbs. You'll see things in your peripheral vision, shadows, dreams, and visions from spirit. You've seen visions, you've seen orbs, right?
Y espíritus,
And you've
fantasmas
seen
caminando.
spirits,
Ujú.
and you've had dreams. What about you, Jeannie?
I've seen one sparkle. I've seen orbs. I've seen stuff out my peripheral vision. I've had many dreams. I think dreams is my strongest of my gifts. Would have to be dreams. So yeah, clairvoyance probably is my first of the gifts that I probably developed, since I was a little kid. What about you?
Me, definitely dreams. I've seen things in my peripheral, visions in my mind. I saw things when I was little. Not things, but I saw spirits when I was little. I don't anymore. I feel them now. But yeah, and I'm grateful.
Mhm.
Every once in a while, I think I'll have seen something in my peripheral and I'll look a few times and, it goes away or whatever, but I ignore it. The worst was probably when I was a kid and we lived in those houses next door to each other.
Okay.
And the house that my parents bought had been, had a fire. So when they bought it, they were fixing it up and everything from all the fire damage and all of that. And an old man died in the house in the fire or whatever. And so every time I would go past the living room, the dining room and the living room were side by side. And every time I would go past the living room or I would be in the dining room, out of my peripheral vision, I would see an old man sitting in the single seat, the single sofa chair that comes with like the living room sets. And it didn't matter where my mom moved that chair. Like, so it wasn't a trick of the light of where it was at. Like she had moved it around a few times, and no matter what, in my peripheral, I would see him sitting in that chair. And that one used to freak me out bad, especially like if I was alone in the house, it would, bother me.
Bother anybody? What about you, Rachel?
Yes, I have a few experience when I was a child. I saw spirits walking in my house 2 different times, and I have visions. I have experiences like seeing different image, and something more. Oh, orbs, and then they see.
I've never seen
Dreams. I have dreams too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You've never seen orbs
No.
at all?
I've
seen a few. I saw one sparkle though. That's the one. I think it felt, even though orbs were the orbs that I seen, were like shockingly that left you kind of speechless kind of thing. But the spark kind of felt like I was seeing magic in real life. I don't know how to explain it because it could have been like, if you want to think of it in a childlike magic sense, I could have
Yes.
seen maybe a pixie or a fairy or something like that fly in between me and my dad. And I felt it. Like, I felt the magic in that moment. Like, I was like, that's the beauty of these gifts. Like, one of the good side of what all this can bring to us. It was, I don't know, it felt really magical to me. And it might sound childish, it might sound like fanciful or whatever you want to call it, but it sparked a little bit of my heart or whatever. I don't know, it touched me. So, and it was just like a little, if I could, the best way I can describe it was like, how when you have a fire outside, like what are they called?
A
When
bonfire?
like a bonfire, and the little
Spark of
sparks of,
ash.
Mhm.
yes, how they fly away. That's exactly what it was. And we were in a party, music, family, all around a Christmas party. And my dad was sitting right next to me, and I saw it fly in the space in between me and my dad. Like, it came from like my direction towards my dad's direction. And I saw it, and I was like, like, it was, I don't know. But and I've seen orbs. I've seen a few orbs, but that one, it was different. I wasn't scared of that one. The orbs, I was a little bit afraid of them, but the spark, no.
Yeah.
And Rachel, I know she's had that with the orbs. She's had that feeling, but with the orbs. Um, Mine was the opposite. I was scared. Like, mine spooked my orbs. And all three times they spooked me a little bit because I didn't know what the heck I was seeing. So
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
I just only saw the orb just only one time.
Oh, just one.
And I have a pictures,
yeah.
and I have a pictures with a lot of orbs. Yeah, a
Yes,
lot.
I saw
Yeah.
a couple of those pics that you sent.
There was one picture you could see like over 20 of them. It's like it looked like they were blowing bubbles in the room.
I didn't even
That's
see
what
that
Yeah.
one.
you didn't see. Yeah, if you open the picture and you zoom it
Yeah.
in, we're not gonna post it due to privacy for
Yeah,
the
no.
kids, because there's a bunch of kids in the picture. But you could see it looks like they were blowing bubbles at night in their
Yeah.
pajamas. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. And if you can zoom the picture, I think you can see something inside the circles, inside the orb.
Hmm.
Try it the
I'll check
next
it
time
out.
you see the picture, try to zoom it, and you can see something inside the orb. I'm
Yeah.
not sure about what it is, but I don't know, something curious.
Wow.
Yeah, and I saw the orb when I saw the orb when I talk about that. I think the last time, I don't know. I was in the same room in the picture that I take it in the same room, and I saw one of the picture. They have a or more bigger than the others in the same area that I see that before. And I know it's more bigger than the others. So it was something like curious. I said, I don't. You have to see the pictures.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if they are angels or spirits, but I think they was fun with the kids.
Man, you're right.
Now, the difference between me and Rachel was Rachel seen hers inside the house. I've seen all of mine's outside of the house,
Outside. Uh-huh.
outside. So I don't know if we're talking about the exact same thing, or because one of mine was a bright green, hers was pink and blue, you said?
Yeah, two colors like a Jan.
Right. But all the
Yeah.
other ones were the color of light, like little balls of light or whatever they were.
Wow.
Um, so if anybody has any more information on orbs, you can let us know what we're seeing.
Yeah. or any
Yeah.
experiences with them.
Yeah, because I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, I would have to sit down and like do like a lot of searching on orbs because there's most people say almost the same things and the same things, but the ones we've seen are different. So I don't know. I haven't heard really anybody describe them the way we've seen them. So, I mean, I don't know if every experience is individual for every person. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Or are we, what are we seeing?
Yeah. You guys are the only ones I know that I've ever seen orbs.
The next one on our list is Claire.
Clairaudience.
Yes.
Clear hearing. So that means ear ringing. Sometimes you could hear underwater sounds, random songs at specific times. Like you could be thinking of someone and the one song you associate most with them suddenly comes on the radio. Those are little winks from our loved ones on the other side. I know you guys have had experience with clairaudience for sure.
Yeah. Definitely the hearing. Ringing, I've had ringing, but for different reasons. Not, I don't, not, I don't think it's related to this. And random songs for sure. And the underwater sensation, yes, I've had those.
What do you mean when you say on something water? You say underwater?
The
What
underwater
what do you
feeling,
mean?
it's
Suena
like,
como tú estás debajo del agua.
yeah, like it's
Like
muffled. It's like a muffled underwater sensation. I don't know, kind of like, well, for
when you
me,
when tenés los oídos tapados or you have something to protect your ear, something like that, no?
yes, like
Yeah.
that kind of hearing. I mean, at least for
Okay,
me.
okay. I don't know that.
Yeah, I do, but it's not a lot. But it's like it's kind of like I like kind of like out of the blue it'll be like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It'll
I've
just come
never
over me.
I've never
It's like
had
I think I feel it, but I don't know. I don't know it was part of the Kelera audience.
hmm
Okay.
And then we've got well
clairsentience.
but you've all had hearing though, both.
Yeah, I get the song stuff a lot. Um,
hmm
I just had my first hearing experience last week. Um, the words on the song changed, and I knew the song's words by heart, and it made me do a double take, and I even played it back, and then it played like normal. It was just weirdest thing. I thought, am I hallucinating? Like I know what I heard. So yeah, I've had that. I've never had the underwater muffled sound. Um, I've had a voice in my head before. Um, it was regarding a very specific topic. It sounded like my inner voice, but you could tell it wasn't my inner voice. It sounded different. I can't explain it other than that. It was my voice, but it sounded different. Like it wasn't coming from me. Um,
But that's I think that specific voice would be under clairsentience because
communicating with spirit,
yeah, communicating with
clear
spirit.
feeling.
Yeah. But clairaudience is more like, for example, when your guides communicate with you, that you
Hear that
can
voice.
yeah, that you assume, well, I always said it's my subconscious talking to me, and kind of
That's what I
ignore it,
thought at the
put
time.
it push it to the back of your mind. Yeah. But like, for example, the reason why we're doing a podcast, I heard clear as day something tell me to do this. But that was my guides. And I know because I recently had an experience with clairsentience, and now I know, like, before I hadn't had that experience, and now I do. So now I know how to explain the difference, like It's very obvious. The voices sound different, and it's not from you, it's external,
Yeah.
even though nobody else can hear it.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's
Mhm.
clairsentience,
Which is
which
the next
is,
one.
yeah.
Clear feeling, sensing or feeling. Empaths usually fall under clairsentient. Communicating with spirit or touch from spirit. So I guess that communicating with spirit part is what you're saying, like when you hear that voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but some people tend to confuse it with hearing their spirit guides, but it's, at least, again, this is my personal opinion based on, I wasn't going to comment on that part because I hadn't experienced it until recently as this week. So hadn't had any type of communication like directly from spirit at all. Like, yes, from my guides, my spirit guides, but it's different with them. Like, I had two separate experiences, and the second one, the voice sounded like the first one was like how do you say it, authoritative,
Mm-hmm.
an authoritative voice, like kind of like commanding me, giving
Mm-hmm.
me a date. when
Yes.
they said when they said the date, they were like, so and so date, and then but with the second time, what they gave me was a name, and then it was, I don't even want to repeat how it sounded, but it sounded not eerie, kind of similar to, do you remember the way ET spoke?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that, like a scratchy older
Raspy
voice, a
voice.
rasp. Yeah, so two totally different voices. When I hear my spirit guides, it sometimes it could be my voice, but most of the time it's a masculine voice that's talking to me, and it sounds like it's in, I don't know how to explain,
It
kind
sounds
of like
like it's inside your head, but it's still
inside my
behind
brain.
you.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Mm-hmm.
very different, kind of like an echo inside of your head or something like that. Not, I mean, I don't know. How do you guys?
I have a question for you.
Hmm.
I have different experiences like hearing. My question is, do you know, or okay, when I hear something like I know it's a spirit, I hear just always for this ear, this side, on the right side. Do you notice the difference when you hear something? Do you understand
I
what I say?
Yeah, I
let
understand.
me think. I think that the authoritative voice was on my right side when I was standing in the doorway. The scratchy voice was on my left. Yeah, because I was hot. I was really close to my husband, so I was laying on my right side. This is the ear that was exposed. So
Okay.
my left. So I heard it through both. I think both sides.
I've never
If
heard
I'm
an external
And
voice.
it's something like because you hear inside, like inside your brain, but I feel it's always like a for this side. I don't understand how I can't explain that. But because it's inside, but I hear like for this side, so this confused for me
Yeah, I get what
because
you're
it's
saying.
yeah. Yeah.
um
When I feel a spirit, I feel like cold on my arms and on my back. So I know I feel a presence or spirit and touching my chest, my face, like this, like someone
okay.
doing like this. When I was driving, I feel it. Yes.
There were a couple of
From
times where I felt a touch on the back, and I like, what? It's not my hair. It's pulled up in a ponytail. There's nothing.
Uh-huh.
There's no bug. I even looked in the mirror, like, what's? And it just felt like somebody was just going like that to me.
I felt stuff like that, like very like sensing type feelings.
That
But
too.
yeah, recently, no, that kind of all changed for me. Um with both my I had two experiences again. So
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I didn't
I
like it.
usually don't.
No, and then the one when I first heard, I did feel like how Rachel said, I felt a coldness in my hands. I don't know how to explain it. In my hands, like in the in betweens of my fingers, and on like the palm side of my hands, and then a coldness through all this area over here. But not touching my skin, like a coolness hovering right above it. But in between my fingers, it's kind of like if I were wearing a glove, you could say. It's the best description if I were looking for some kind of description on how it felt. But a very limited few experiences, and it's too much already.
For
Yeah.
me, when
Oh,
I
and I forgot to say something about clairaudience.
the hearing,
Sorry.
the clear hearing.
Yeah. Um, I remember when I was sleeping, I hear a radio when someone changed the station, and if M, right, AM,
Mm-hmm.
on AM, like
FM radio.
yeah, like something like that. When somebody changed the station,
The
the
static,
channel,
the static.
yeah, like something like that during the night. I was like, who have the radio at night? Like at maybe 2, 3 o'clock. I think so, because I can remember at what time it was. But I say at the next day, I was like, do you hear my ex-husband? I said, do you hear the radio during the night? I say, no. Hey, why people have the radio at night, like like it changed the station, like a
Like they
and
were trying to
they
tune the
change it, they
radio to
change
a
it.
station.
Sorry?
Like they were trying to tune the radio to get a
Yes,
station.
yes, that's what I hear all the time. And it was weird, and I would say, oh my God, it was too loud. And I wake up, I wake up like this. Say, I say, where is the radio? Where? It's something weird.
Yeah. Now that
Very
you
weird. But
mention that,
nobody hear that. Nobody. Nobody. I asked to my ex-husband, my ex-mother-in-law. Nobody hear the radio, just only me. And I was like, something weird. But I was talking to my sister, and she says she have the same experience. And the husband don't hear anything.
wow.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, my brother has gifts, and so does my son. So it doesn't surprise me that you have a sister that can hear and listen. It's in the family, it's in our blood. Her
Too many of
brother,
us.
you have brothers that also.
Yeah. There's too many
Mm-hmm.
of us in one family.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's in our case, it's in the bloodline.
yeah. Um, I've I had forgot until Rachel mentioned the radio. Do you remember the super old TVs? Like, if you were in another room, you could hear when it turned on, not because it was turned on to a station, but it would make like this background like noise. I can't explain it. Um,
Say behind the TV.
huh?
That's what you say, behind the TV? The sound? No?
No, lo televisiones viejo,
Yeah.
cuando uno lo prendía, hacía un ruido
Yeah.
que
Like, what?
antes, yeah, I've heard that without no TVs. I mean, in the last
Okay.
5 to 8 years, I've heard that a few times. You don't hear you don't hear what's on the channel, what's playing on the channel, but the TV itself gives off like a little buzz. And
Mm-hmm.
those old
Yeah.
TVs, that buzz, where like
Yeah.
I can't even imitate the noise. I don't even know how to imitate the noise. I've heard that a few times, and we don't have old TVs. We have the newer they don't do that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've had that happen a few times, and I
Hmm.
never associated it with anything. But now I'm
I
thinking,
think maybe it's just, I don't know, they try to connect with you. I don't know.
yeah,
That's what I think. They try to, to connect.
The thing
yeah,
is, I think a lot of these things have been happening to us for so long, we just
we've
didn't
gotten
Yeah.
really good
realize.
at ignoring it.
Yeah, and finding a logical explanation for everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And it was hard because you can talk about that with everybody, and
Mhm.
you don't find information about what is said, why. And I think this is something normal, you know,
it's a
why they
lot
have
more
to
common
hide.
than people think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And somebody tried to hide, you know, everything about that. And I think that's not correct.
Yeah, because
It
there's some families they don't.
No, and it's in our case, it's a kind of a hindrance in the sense that we now have a lot of missing information that could be useful to us for protection, could be useful to us for knowing how to handle a lot of this stuff. Um, Valuable information that we could pass down to our children when they need it and we don't have it. So we've got to do all the searching, and a lot of this, there's not a lot of stuff out there if you think about it. Like when we go back to clairvoyance, right? Like I'm always looking up definitions for dreams, what this means, what this means, what this symbolizes, when maybe we would have had all that information already, you know,
I've
passed down to us throughout
yeah,
the generations.
I've literally said to my husband a few times, like, my life would be different in many ways had there been someone to help me learn and guide me. Um, I just didn't have anyone, and no one else in the family that I knew of at the time, was having those experiences, and if they did, they weren't really sharing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it made me feel like different from the rest of the family sometimes. Not in a
Yeah.
good way. But yeah,
No, but
so
I
wonder
I
that.
understand you. And then it's like it's not something you can just it's not like, "Hey, is this happening to you?" I mean, I can't even remember how we got into the subject. Probably telling ghost stories would probably be the way that you kind of communicated
I remember the first time we brought this up. I
the
remember.
ghost stories.
No,
What was it?
it was after we had gotten in contact with each other again. Remember, we lost each other's
Hmm.
info and everything, and we got in contact with each other again. And it was one day when we were able to finally like sit down and talk on the phone. And you said, "Can I ask you a question about something?" And I answered, "Why does weird shit keep happening with people in our family?" And you were like, "Yeah." So it's not just me. I'm like, "No, it's not." And little by
Okay.
little, we started, and it just got bigger and bigger, and discussing more and more things that
Mhm.
empaths fall under this too.
Oh yeah.
Um, I didn't realize until I was older how much other people's energies affected me. I would be exhausted, from being around a lot of people. I thought it was normal to need um solo decompress time after I've been out all day or at a function or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
Um, and I was looking up other things that have um highly sensitive people associated with empaths. And I was like, I don't know why it didn't dawn on me before, but as I was reading down the list of things, it was like, yup, 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 yup. And then I was telling my husband, he was like, "Yeah, I know, that's you. Like, you need that time to, like, um,
Decompress.
decompress and recharge after being around people." When I was younger, it was so much easier to be in big crowds, like at parties and stuff like that, and now that I'm older, it, like, gives me such an anxiety, um, to be in big parties, like weddings, wedding receptions, and stuff like that. Small groups of people, I'm okay. It's when there's a big, like, sometimes my husband will look at me like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Anxiety, anxiety." Like, I just have all this anxiety feeling. Um, and I didn't know all of that was associated with empathic things.
In my case, I do consider myself an empath. Um, but my anxiety didn't I what do you call it? The dark, what is it?
A dark night of the soul is when you go through a very black and dark, dark period in your life.
Right. So mine's would be between 2006 and 2008. So that's when I developed my anxiety. Um, but due to that, but I am in the sense I can feel like other people's emotions. I can sense all that stuff. So that's why I do consider myself an empath. And I think and since I am naturally shy, I've always pushed myself like out of my shell to to integrate in big groups or whatever it is. So I've never had, you know, the issue with like crowds and stuff like that. Do I have to like kind of like do a stress relief after? Now I do. Back then I didn't so much. When I was younger, I didn't. I probably um 2008 was when after that time. What about you?
Since I was a kid,
Okay.
anxiety, um, I would need time alone. There would be times where I didn't want to go to school, not because of school or work or a test or anything like that. I didn't want to be around other people. Like, I
Too
couldn't,
much people around you.
too many people around me. I couldn't take it. It was like, I would miss time and I would like, I just can't do it I just can't be around people. Like, I didn't even want anybody looking at me. That's how it would feel. Like, I would need to close myself in my room. And now as I've gotten older, the house, and I cocoon myself in the house. And I would do that when I was younger. And I never realized, I always wondered, like, what's wrong with me that I go through those periods? Because it would happen with work too as I got older. Um, and the more stressful life was, the harder it was to deal with the other energies around because you only have so much energy to dedicate to different things. So if life was stressful, it made it even harder to deal with other people's energies. I don't know if emotions per se, it's energy. People's energies, I can pick up on them. Um, Not some people faster than others. Some people are a lot easier to read than others, but it I never realized how much of a toll it takes on me until I stopped being around, more people all the time. I had to stop working and everything. So, yeah. And then you read stuff and you're like, well, son of a bitch. That's what that was that whole time. Yeah. If I had known things like that when I was younger, I'd have been able to take, even better care of myself. When I was young, I loved being out in crowds and everything. I loved going to the club. I loved hanging out with my friends,
Mm-hmm.
but I would need that. I would get really exhausted much faster than any of my friends did, and I would need that decompression time and that time to recharge. It would take a lot out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Rachel?
Yes, yes. Yeah. Sometimes I felt the people, and you can feel like a stress, like tired after talking, with people, and I say, oh my God, like like I do feel something like why people make me make feel like stressed and tired and
Mm-hmm.
sad, sometimes sad, and you don't want to talk with the people again, like share time with them. I know. And sometimes when I visit a house, I say, no, I don't want to go back there.
Oh yeah.
You feel something, something
The
deep, something.
heaviness. The
Yes,
heaviness.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel something like I want to run.
Mm-hmm.
That's happened when I think last year. Yes, I had an experience in a house, and I feel something like I want to run. And I don't know why, but I feel something like a panic,
Like get out.
yeah,
Get out
like
now.
you have to
Leave.
go now. You have to go now.
Yep.
Something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, I've had
And
feelings like that with places.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know why. I remember when I was live on Reading, Pennsylvania, just only I think for 1 year, something like that. When I married in 2003, I feel something bad there. And I know I have family there and I love my family, but I don't know why I don't like that place. Make me feel sad, make me feel something, I don't know, nothing good, no good in the place. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because
People give me that feeling
I think
too.
Reading, they have a lot of history.
Yeah, it's old. But
Yeah, it's old.
that's why I don't like living in older homes
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
because there's too much built-in energy,
yeah.
like built up history that happens in the house.
The houses we grew up in had that energy, had that feeling,
Yeah.
had that heaviness. And then
Felt
when I
heavy
got
all the
married,
time.
when I got married, the house we rented, good Lord, it was charged, like fully charged. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't. I can't even explain all the things that happened to me. But it was mostly during my dreams, and it had that heaviness. So when we went out to actually buy our first home, I was like, I'm buying something that feels clear, that feels, I don't know,
And
fresh and open.
I don't
And I
know if
did.
you noticed, but that houses, they rent the houses for, very cheap because everybody goes.
What'd you say?
I
I'm sorry.
think so. Like when people rent that kind of houses, the
Hmm.
rent is very cheap because
Yeah.
everybody go. I don't know why, but that happened to me too. The
Yeah,
rent,
because
Yeah.
it
they
was
keep
very cheap, and I
anybody
say,
renters for a long time.
yeah,
Hmm.
everybody goes. I don't know why,
You
but
know
I
what?
have
And
that.
that's true. That's true because the person that we rented the house from, um, I remember them. So we had wanted to do like a 6 months rental agreement or something like that. It was short because we were actively looking for a home to buy. And the person was like, "No, I only it has to be for this amount, but I'll lower the rent for you." You know, like he negotiated just so that we could get into a yearly contract with the homeowner, but he lowered our rent for us. I remember that is true.
Do
Mhm.
you remember when I was living on the house on the I don't know on El Pino?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't like the house.
No, it's charged.
No, and it was very cheap, the rent. And I hear something about everybody goes, and they don't know why.
I
And the
can't.
same happened to me. I don't know.
There's not a good feeling up in that place.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so then we have clairgustance, which means clear taste. So you'll taste flavors that, maybe you associate with a certain person or spirit. Sometimes you also, and then there's clairalience, which, that's the next one, 4 and 5. So clairgustance is clear taste, and clairalience is clear smelling. So you're getting sense or taste from spirit. I've had neither of these. I know
No.
you have, right, Jeannie? And
Yeah.
Meaning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can say almost most of my life, I had Claire Aliens, is it? Claire Aliens
clear.
or Alliance.
Yep.
I have had that one. And like with my spirit guides, it was just one of those things where I would just smell something. And I remember my dad telling me a long time ago, he was like, whenever you get a bad smell, he would tell me, you know, the sign of the cross. Um, um, and so I did, I would do it. But I every now and again I'll get good smells. And it's really random, but it's really potent, but at the same and kind of fleeting, sometimes it'll stay in the area with you. Um I had I think my most well, I have three that are the most strongest ones that I've had, which is actually a really strong, potent, nasty scent of urine, like old urine. And um Potpourri. What I associate the smell with potpourri in mint, a soft minty smell. Mint has been the most recent, and I hadn't ever tasted ever until 2 weeks ago or something like that.
I think like 3 weeks now.
3 weeks now, where I got the minty smell and had a minty taste in my mouth, all over my mouth. I thought it was because I changed the toothpaste, and I was like, "Damn, I bought some really good toothpaste." And then I noticed that it wasn't going away. It's very, very subtle now. At this point, I have like a freshness in my mouth, kind of. Um, but is very subtle now, but before it was stronger, and it's the longest that has lasted. Um, the urine throughout the years that I've been living in this house, um, has been the one that I've been blaming on other people, thinking it was someone else. And this is where I go back to, how you think it's something else. You don't assume that it's like, I don't know how I didn't realize that it wasn't natural. I thought it was my son or my husband or something, you know, and I was like, what is it that they're doing in this bathroom that it's always smelling like, like really strong? Until recently, I had cleaned the bathroom and I went ahead and took a shower or whatever. I was the last person in the bathroom, and out of the corner of my eye, I had seen what I assumed was my son going into the bathroom to use it. So I had to go. So I'm waiting, and I'm like, when is he coming out? And my husband's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, my son. And he's like, he's not in the bathroom. I'm like, what? So I get up, I go, and I'm like, what's that? And that's when it dawned on me that it hadn't been the first time that specific thing had happened to me, where I thought one of them was in the bathroom, and I would just, if I saw one, then I would assume it was the other. Um, so I hadn't realized that had been going on. And then I go in the bathroom finally, right? And I smell the urine. And I'm like, wait a minute. And that's when I realized, I was like, wait, I was the last person in here. And I cleaned it before I took a shower, before I used it. I left it clean. So that's when I realized that I had been smelling something for years, blaming it on them. And they were like, no, it's not us, and I realized that I had been smelling something for a long time. And then it's it's the room where the light flickers in the house and all that stuff. But it's weird because I don't get a bad vibe. Like, it's just in there in the bathroom. It had been going on for so long I didn't even realize it was happening. And with the minty smell, um, on 2 different occasions where I got the minty smell while I had the minty taste in my mouth. So it's what like what what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it confirmed for me that I was actually tasting and smelling something not natural. I mean, I googled to see if it was a medical condition or something like that, but it was just there. And I hadn't had the taste, never, before this. The potpourri, I had gotten sick from the scent was so strong. I have allergies and all that, and it was so strong that I would go visit this house and the smell would hit me. And they have these air freshener things, so the kinds that spray, they throw like a really long spritz. So I would get slapped in the face with the smell. But and then, I'm a guest at a house, and I'm not gonna tell you to stop to put your stuff away because it's giving me allergies or whatever. So I kept assuming that it was, the spray and the allergies. And every time I would go over during the holidays, every time I would go over, I would get this scent, and it would just make my allergies go crazy. Until one day the person tells me, they're like, what are you talking about? What? And I'm like, oh, it's just like I get allergies. It's probably from, from the air freshener that you have up in your living room. And they're like, what air freshener? And I'm like, well, the one you got up there. And they're like, no, it's there, but it doesn't have batteries. It's empty. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been smelling it during the whole holidays every time I've come over here. And they're like, no. And they pulled it out. They had removed it from up top. They pulled it out and they were like, look. And then I was like, what? So I smell it. It didn't even have the same scent inside of it. It had a different scent. And I had been getting bombarded with this potpourri smell every time I would go over there. And it to the point where it would activate all my allergies and I would get all stuffed up, and I felt like I was getting sick from allergies, from sinus and all that stuff. So those were my 3 most recent experiences with, and cherries or something the other day. Um, which is what Rachel got reminded of, right? The strawberry scent.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I heard something about when angels appears,
hmm
they have a smell too, like a strawberry, like the angel of beauty, something like that.
okay. Well, while I was on the phone with her, I was telling her, I was like, I smell like strawberries or cherry. Well, I was saying cherries, right? I can't remember. I think
Strawberry.
I was saying strawberry. Okay. So I was like, I'm smelling like strawberries, like but it was fleeting. It didn't last that long. But I did, but it was strong, but it was quick, and it just kind of like went on its way or something.
Mm.
So those were my experiences with them.
And the last one we have is clear cognizance, which is clear knowing or intuition. We've all had experiences
Yeah.
with intuition and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
My intuition has saved me on quite a few occasions. Alerted me to things like get out of here or, stuff like that. You just feel like
Mm-hmm.
this alarm bell inside of you telling you to leave now, like, that type of thing. I've had that happen.
I've got the knowings a lot. Intuition also, but more the knowings. Like when I'm 100% sure about something, I don't know why.
And you don't
I'm
know
like,
why.
I don't know why I know, but I know, but I know.
And then you find out
Mhm.
that you had it right. Like
Yeah.
what you knew was true. Yeah, that's happened to
Mhm.
me. Like I've had an equal amount of both. So,
Mhm.
that's happened to me a lot.
Yeah. Something happened to me when sometimes people um you're gonna tell me something and I know what you're gonna say. So I stop the person and I say, oh, he gonna do something? How you know? Oh, somebody tell you? No. So what do you know that? Oh,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
the last time
so
my
I
mom called
am.
me,
How you say that? Como en español digo, como yo interrumpo a la persona y
You
lo digo
interrupt them?
como disparado. Como, oh, los otros días me pasó algo como alguien me estaba contando, oh, ¿sabes qué está pasando con tal persona? Y yo, ¿qué? ¿Se está divorciando? ¿Quién te dijo? Nadie. Pero ¿y
mhm,
cómo lo sabe? No sé. Y yo interrumpo a la persona y no me gusta porque interrumpo mucho a las personas para yo decir el final de las cosas. So, interrumpo mucho. Translate in English.
She basically said she interrupts people and she doesn't like it because she feels like she's what intruding on what they were
she'll
about to say.
she'll
You take away
she'll
their
finish
thunder.
their sentence, basically,
Yeah.
Yeah.
tell them what they were about to say to her, and
Yeah.
they're like, "How did you know that?" Blah, blah, blah. I've had
Mhm.
that happen to me too. The last time my mom called me one day, she's like, "Do you remember so and so?" And I was like, "Is he dead?" She's like, "How'd you know that?" I was like, "I just had a feeling." She's like, "But no, how'd you know?" And I said, "Like, I just had a feeling." Um, One time my sister-in-law was pregnant and they hadn't told anyone, and my other sister-in-law was over. So, okay, 2 of my sister-in-laws were over then one day, and that night I was looking in the mirror talking to my husband. I was doing like my facial stuff or whatever, and it felt like I was getting a sty, but I didn't. And I was like, someone's pregnant. One of the girls are pregnant. And the very next day, the one that wasn't pregnant came over. And I was like, "So who's pregnant? You or so and so?" And she gave me this startled look. And I didn't mean to do that to her. She was like, "How do you know so and so's pregnant?" She was like, "You can't say anything. They're gonna." I was like, "I just had this feel like it just came to me." And like ever since then, it kind of freaked her out. Like one time she called me, she was like, "Do you see if I'm pregnant or not?" I was like, "Girl, it don't work that way." You don't control what comes to you. What comes to you comes to you. Sometimes
Yeah.
it does, sometimes it doesn't.
It's
And
really
you feel
random.
something. You
Mhm.
feel something like, say that, say that, say that.
Mhm.
That happened to me.
I'm more on the keep it to myself type situation where I'm unsure. I'm like, and then it turns out that
Yeah.
it is what I thought that it was. This is usually how I go. I'm like, I just don't. I'm more the quiet
Yeah, I don't
back.
family sometimes, and it depends what it is, not with every
Hmm.
um, other people outside the family, mm-mm. Um, Friends and stuff, I've had to catch myself before it comes out. Um, and yeah, like I'm I've learned to be very specific with who I say what to. Um, yeah. But like I
Yeah,
said,
and mhm.
I don't control it. It doesn't it's not like I'm like,
Yeah.
come to me." Like, it don't work
Yeah.
like
Now
that.
I have had where people do come to me for advice, and then I don't know where I get it from, but I will automatically know exactly what to tell them, what type of advice they need in that moment, and I'll just go with it. And then they'll be like, "Oh man, everything that you said," and then. So that's usually the only time that I'll like put it out there is when they come to me for advice. But I don't know. I just don't. I don't broadcast. That's the one out of all that I don't broadcast, because like smelling, I'll broadcast it. Like I'll be doing something, I'm like, "Do you guys?" I'm like I won't eat. I'll make it so obvious. I'm like, "Dang, it smells like popcorn. You smell that? It smells like popcorn in here." Like
Yeah.
that's the one I won't. I don't know why. I think it's because I've had it for so long, for so many years, probably since I was little.
Yeah.
That's the one I don't hide. I'll put it out there, and everybody's
You're
like,
just
"You have
joking
such a
about.
sensitive." Yeah, everybody's like, "You have such a sensitive nose," but they don't realize that they don't
Something else.
associate it with a gift. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I've learned to be particular. You know, I've had friends like telling me things that are going on in their life, and I can see exactly where the road that they're gonna go down, like
Mhm.
just from the things that they've told me, like I can tell. Um, Not always, not with everybody. Some people are easier to read than others. I've noticed that. I had one
Yeah.
friend way back in the day, I could read her. Oh my God, like she would try to fool me. She would try to fool me when she would call me because every time she was upset, I could hear it in her voice. And she's like, I try to sound as normal as possible, and you still always pick it up.
Mhm.
And like I would know things that she was gonna tell me before she would actually say it and stuff. And I wouldn't say them to her. I'd keep it to myself. And then I'd be like, it was just a good guess, Lenny. It was just this, it was just that, you know.
Now this is the one that they call the sixth sense. That gut feeling,
Right.
that intuition. And I was actually having a conversation this morning with my son where he was like, "Why do you always think I'm in a bad mood?" I was like, "'Cause I know.
Mhm.
I know. I can feel it and I know it." And he was like, "Well, what about right now?" And I was like, "No, you're not in a bad mood, but there's something wrong with you and there's something that you need to get off your chest." And he's like, "How do you always know?" Like he was like, "How do you always know?" I was like, "'Cause I know.
My
It's a gift."
husband, him
Mhm.
too. I I can just tell like a little thing could be off. I'm like, "What's wrong, baby? What's going on in your head?" I was like, "What makes you think?" I'm like, "Because I can feel it. I know. I can
Now,
tell."
I don't know if that's a mixture of being an empath and also claircognizant,
For
because
me, it's more my
mhm,
I think that's more my empathic stuff when it comes to like my husband and stuff like knowing when he's off and stuff like that. I can just sense it.
that's
I
why,
can
but
tell
I
when
think
he's
I think a
bored.
lot of these gifts mix
They're
together and
they're
they tend to
Yeah.
intertwine.
sometimes you can have experiences that will have 2 or 3 different clear abilities all wrapped up in one experience and stuff like that,
Mhm.
depending on the experience. So, yeah, you know, sometimes they can be hard to separate out, but like the top 6 seem to be the best one because there are other ones. There's clear tangency that some people refer to. There's also clear empath. And it's like they took out a part of clairsentience, the empathic
Mhm.
part and the feeling or empathic touch. Um, and they put that into clear empath. Um, no, I'm sorry, clairtangency is the physical touch, and then the clear empath is other people's emotions. They separated those out from
Yeah.
clairsentience.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most people go by the top 6 that we had discussed. The
I
clairvoyant,
think I do too.
audience, sentience, gustance, alience, and cognizance.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are the main ones. That's my claircognizance, the intuition, um, the knowings, sometimes, the intuitions have been most helpful to me in life. Like, there's just been times where I just knew, like, "Do this, don't do this, don't go there, don't," and then something happens and I didn't go. You know, and there's been reasons or, you know, you can't trust this person and later on you found out why.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you know, that's also the intuition can also be entangled with the empathic part because I've it happens with women, but there have been men that I've met and they've, you know, like a 30, 60 second interaction with them or whatever. And you just they acted perfectly nice, perfectly polite, gave you no outward signal that they're a creep, but every fiber of my being starts to crawl. Like my skin starts to crawl and something tells me like there's something about this guy that is not right. Get away from him. Um my husband's seen me like have an experience with, or running with someone and trying to shake off the feeling that they gave me because it's their energy, just
I
bad energy.
That happens to me almost not on the daily, but I work customer service. So it happens to me and a lot where you get the sense that you could tell that they're not right, that they're not right. And also people that are like us. I've come across a few of them
Mhm.
and I get the sense that they know the same. I don't know if it's something in their eyes. There's something. I don't know if it's what claircognizant. I don't know if it's that, but este, it's I can't even explain the feeling that comes through when you see someone and you're like, and then somehow, some way, I'll try to find out. Like, do you know of this person, what this person does, or whatever? I'll try to find, but they kind of spook me in sometimes because some of them give me a good vibe and some of them don't.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but and I don't like the ones that don't because I ask myself, okay, if I can sense that they're like me, but on the other side, can they sense me? And it's a weird, eerie feeling
I
because
think it
I'm
depends
pretty
on the
sure,
person.
I'm
'Cause
pretty sure that
I
they
can't
can
sense
if
when
they're good or not.
no, I
Oh,
can't
another
sense if they're gifted. Um,
it's a different it's like have you had that feeling, Rachel? It's
Like
a different it's a different vibe
you
from
I
know,
don't know. I that I notice is like when someone look at you and they know something, like they saw something on you, but they don't know, but they know something like you're, I don't know, they look at you like different. And I
mhm,
noticed that and I say,
mhm,
and I feel it. I feel the energy. I
exactly.
feel that energy is a different energy.
It's a
Like
different
maybe
energy.
the energy feel your energy. I think so.
it could be.
It's like I don't want to say it's that you run into somebody that you think you know or someone that you could have known or something like that, but it's a weird feeling. It's a weird
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. And I get left with the one, I wonder to myself, like, do they know? Do they know? And
It's
it but if
the energy. I think it's the energy. Read the energy. Like you
yeah,
have a beautiful energy. Like you contact with others' energy and people. I think it's the energy. Read other energies,
yeah,
and they know.
but I don't
But
like it.
they can say that they can express that. Just
Yeah, but if it's
like a
somebody that's dark, I don't like it. They give me that bad vibe, that dark vibe, and I know that I'm like, damn,
yeah.
you know.
Mm-mm, I don't like it. I'm grateful
Mm-mm.
for it though.
Mhm.
It's I've steered clear of certain people in my years because of the vibes that they gave me,
Mhm.
or I've just kept a mental note on that person, and then all of a sudden, a few
And
years
you
on.
kind of like automatically put up a barrier. I mean, at least I do. Like I try to put up some kind of mental barrier of protection and I quickly say some kind of prayer or something because I just feel like I need to in that moment. It's something about them spooks me. I don't know how to explain it. It's an eerie sense.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you feeling their energy, like Rachel was saying. Um, I that's how I can feel other people's energies. Some people are easier to feel than others. I've
Mhm.
seen a video where some people's auras expand about 2 to 4 feet on average. Most people is 2 to 4 feet.
Mm.
Some people go out way further,
I
and how
think so. Yeah.
strongly it exudes depends on the person too. So, sometimes I think it's how strong their aura gives off the energy and the vibration and all of that. Um, is I don't like when I come across someone that gives me the heebie-jeebies because it like sticks to you like slime. Like you want to like
That's
wipe it off, like clean yourself.
it's a feeling that
Wow.
stays with you. That's why I automatically try to erect my like a barrier, and I say my prayers because it like I don't know why it stays like it stays there. It's like and it stays in the back of your mind, and you're like, did they recognize that I have? You know, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's so weird.
And they people smile you like, "Mhm," right?
Yes, yes.
And look at you the eyes like, "Hmm?" And you was like, he saw something on me. But
No.
for the same reason, people hate you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's no, I don't advertise. I don't
Mm-mm.
like my friends. I've had, I now I know it's not coincidence. It's just, um people enter my life who are also gifted and stuff like that. And like two of them have become life, decades long friends and stuff like that. My one friend, she didn't know what she was, but she started explaining things. Like she started telling me a couple of things one time, and I didn't say nothing about myself. All I said was, "Have you ever heard of an empath?" And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "When you get a minute, just go look it up." And I left it at that. I mentioned nothing else. And she came back to me the next day and she's like, "You have changed my life." This opened up a whole other world and explained a million things to me. And so that it's been rare, but it has happened. Um, yeah, but I didn't, it took me a long while to open up about the deeper things. The topical subjects and stuff like that is fine, but I don't, I don't put out a big old poster, showing my freak flag sign.
Yeah, I mean, even in my own home, um, the only reason why my son knows is because he came to me talking about a really vivid dream, and then that's how we've gotten into the conversations. I do want to help him and guide him. I don't want him to be lost in desperation or trying to find the meaning of this or that on your own. And he recently, you know what? As a matter of fact, now that you mentioned the aura, he recently mentioned to me that he saw my father's, that he told me exactly those words. My dad's comes over him and it's huge, and it could he was like it wrapped around maybe 4 or 5 of us that were there from how huge it is. And he was like, it's a grayish color and all this stuff. And he went into a lot of detail about that, about people's colors and their auras and stuff like that. So I do talk to him, but that's it. And my brother, and that's it. No one else. Well, besides you girls. And every once in a while that we'll get together and talk ghost stories as a family and talk eerie stuff like that, but we won't go into all these details like we are here.
Yeah. My circle has gotten bigger in the last like 2 years
Mhm.
discussing this. I mean, you and I had been discussing it for about 12 years or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, I talk about it with my husband, because he had stories about his grandmother and stuff like that. I wouldn't talk about it with my brothers or anything. And then things started changing with a couple of my brothers and they started asking about things and I mentioned a couple of things and they went down the rabbit hole and now, we have entire discussions about all of this. And that was one of the stepping stones for me to have more acceptance to myself. Because my one brother in particular brought some information about myself to me, and it just reaffirmed what I've been told over the years and everything. So, and then you guys, now that we're doing all of this, I don't feel so alone in
Mm-hmm.
it. Like, I always felt very alone in it, and I was always trying to push it away and ignore it, and logical reasons, and it's not this, it's not that, and now I'm way more open than I ever was. It took a long time for me to get here. Um, but yeah, it helps so much. I
It
didn't
does.
realize how much it would help.
And you have somebody to bounce, not ideas, but bounce things off of, and you guys have the answers.
Experiences.
Yeah, and you guys are able to explain it to me, look at it from a different point of view, and explain to me, look, I think this is what's happening, or this and this and that. You can't do that with everybody.
Mm-mm.
So
No.
No.
I'm grateful for you guys.
Twice that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just all my life I was told I was too sensitive. Like, I was too sensitive. I would take on other people's emotions too much. Um, that I had too much empathy sometimes for my own good and things like that. So, you know, better understanding how the gifts and my sensitivities play into all of that, makes it easier for me to deal with everything. Like, when you understand something better, you understand yourself better, you can deal with your issues better.
Yeah, and not doubt yourself so much.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You're not like, why am I like this? Why am I like this?
Yeah. You have a lot of questions and nobody can explain that. And if you talk with your family, it was like no, 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 no. We can talk about that.
no,
And if
prayed away, prayed away, prayed
yeah,
away.
yeah, and they don't answer, and they don't look at you, and they just ignore you. And if someone knows something about that, it's a family secret.
It was because it's taboo to talk about,
Yeah.
and it just, when I tell you, when I think about like how much further along the path I could have been in understanding myself and my abilities and how it affects me had I had someone to guide me through and explain to me, like, this is why you do what you do. You go decades doing things and you don't even realize like why you're doing it, avoiding.
Still to this day, you're oblivious to some of the stuff that you're doing, or that's been happening to you, and you don't associate it with this. I mean, I don't.
Yep.
I'm trying. That's what I'm here for. I'm trying to have acceptance, not doubt myself, and learn to trust the process and do the work, do the meditations. Um, Rachel's been big on that for years now, and she's like, you got to meditate, and you got to do this, and you got to do that.
Yep.
She's like, this, have you tried this meditation? It's really good for you. And you got to do it. You're going to like it. And she's actually probably the first person that I ever meditated with. I remember her coming home from college. She had taken some college classes or something that taught her how to meditate. And we did it. But we didn't know that it was I mean, we didn't associate it with all this, back then. Remember, Rachel?
Yes. Babies. We are
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah.
Meditation for babies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it was a meditation like to go from the for the past or something like that. I can't
Past
remember.
life
It was 20
meditation.
years. Huh?
Past life meditation,
I
or
think so. I think so. And I think it was more
Yeah.
than 20 years, so I can't remember.
Yeah, we were in our early 20s, maybe
20,
20.
yeah, 20 something. And I was very excited when I shared the book of the class because I say, oh my God, this is so good. So I'm going to talk with Jeannie about that because I don't have nobody to practice. I have to practice, I think the last test, I have to record a meditation And I remember I practiced with Jeannie, and Jeannie was my model.
Yeah. So
So I'm not supposed to take the class in the college. Um, I remember when I tried to pick my class, and I have to take you can translate that. I have to pick one of psychologists, and
psychology.
when on my credit I have to take one. But when I saw on the newspaper, uh, they have meditation for no, yeah, meditation, hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Así se dice.
Yes.
Hypnosis
Yes.
meditation for, I think it's for helping, something like that. And I said, So when I saw that, then I said, I'm gonna talk with the person who put the class. So I'm not supposed to take the class, but I have the permission to to change the
The class
psychology part for that. It was in the psychologist
department.
department, but I'm
Okay.
not supposed to take it, so I had the permission. So yeah, because for me, I don't know why it was very interesting for me when I was and nobody can take it from my class, just only me, nobody. And yeah, so when I was like 20 years ago, I was looking for something different, like
I think
to
I think without you even realizing it, or without any of us even realizing it, we had always been drawn to this
That's a
somehow, some
sign
way.
that you're drawn.
oh, I remember something very important now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the meditation that I did in the class with the professor, I saw this place that I live right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember in the meditation, I saw like La Playa, the beach, and I saw the houses on the beach, and like a rent houses, like vacational. And I said, that's weird. And I saw like the house with a door, and I remember when I hear someone how you say tira la puerta slash the door, no,
Slam, slam.
oh, slam the
Mm-hmm.
door very loud, and I was like, on the meditation I hear that, and I said, so that's weird. And I remember when I talk about that with my professor and the students, and like not making sense for me at 20 years. Okay, so I said, okay, I don't know what means that. When I came in here the first time, I think it was in 2013 for a visit. Um, my niece say, can I go to the beach? Can I go? Yeah, okay, go. I want to go too. When I was walking on the beach, I saw the same houses, the same beach, and I was like, oh my God, that's the same place I saw in my meditation, like 20 years ago, more like 30 something years ago. So I was like, oh my God, that's why. So I saw part of the future in a meditation. I
Hmm.
don't understand how, but I saw the same. And now I understand why the one of the door slammed, and I hear it very loud, the sound. They have different means. I
Okay.
understand.
Um,
Yeah, that's the. I think that's the one of the best thing. Yeah, that I remember in my class. And I remember when
Which
someone
was a premonition, basically. Inside of your meditation, you had a
yeah,
premonition.
I saw the future. I can
Mm-hmm.
believe it. I can believe it when I was walking and I was like, what? I know that place before. I know I was here before. Yeah, the same houses, the same place. And I remember when we have to meditation in the class, it was on the group, like a circle group. And one of the students said to the professor, why when she's on meditation, the how you say the párpado?
Eyelid?
Huh?
Eyelid?
Yeah, he said the eyelid is moving a lot. And the professor say because she can see. She can see. Like como ella dijo, como ella tiene algo que puede ver mucho.
Mm.
That's what she said. And
Wow.
now
I know when I got tested for sleep apnea, they put all these things in your, all around your head and stuff, and on your eyelids and all that stuff. And when I was done, the technician was like, "Damn, girl, you dream a lot." And I'm like, "Why do you say it?" She was like, "You kept going into the REM of sleep. Is that how it's called in English?
REM.
REM." She was
Right.
like, "You keep going into the sleep REM over and over and over and over and over again. You went in. I've never seen anybody go in so many times." And I was like, "Because they wake you up like every once in a while."
Yeah, my husband had it done.
Mm-hmm.
I hear
So that,
something about that today. So I'm gonna send it to you.
okay.
About the RAM, you say?
Yeah. Yeah. El rey de sueño.
I think
Mm.
I hear something about that.
My
That is your
husband tells
brain.
me when you were dreaming a lot last night because you were talking up a storm. I'll, I constantly will talk in my sleep when I dream. Dreams has been one of my strongest.
Yeah, mine
Dream.
too.
Yeah.
You
My
know,
strongest and most frustrating and confused.
I noticed something on the dreams. Every time I dream with a um like una persona gruesa,
Overweight
it's something
for
like a
you.
money coming, like abundance. That's
Mm-hmm.
happened to me. And I'm sorry, but I have to say that. And when I dream with shit, it's something about money too. It's a problem, like a money problem.
The only other thing I would say is
Mm-hmm.
everybody has these abilities and everybody has the ability to develop their abilities,
Mm-hmm.
meditation and stuff like that. Some people it just comes through a little bit stronger. It's just like naturally developed gifts or talents like any other gift or talent. Sports and art and musicians, like the more you practice and the more you develop, the stronger it is. But some people they have a natural ability to be good at those things without any real training or even trying. It just comes out of them. So,
Mm-hmm.
it can be the same thing. But if anybody wants to develop their abilities, meditation. It always comes down to meditation,
Yeah.
clearing your mind and things like that, different types of meditation and all of that. But that's meditation always,
Meditation is the key.
Yes, it is. And trusting the process.
Yes.
which is
Yeah,
hard.
you
Yeah.
gotta, and patience.
And
Which
believe
is hard.
and trust.
Yes. Yeah. Above all, faith. You have to have faith.
Yeah. So, on our next episodes, we'll be talking about dreams and waking up, basically like our adventures in dreaming. And then after that, we'll be covering intuition and knowings more in depth, along with the claircognizance that goes with that. And then later on down the road, we'll be doing grounding and meditations.
Hopefully, the information we share with you today has been helpful or beneficial in some way to you. And please remember, trust the process. And we thank you for staying with us and hope you will join with us on another episode of Discovering Our Gifts.